Hello and welcome everyone to tonight's special edition of All Access. At the start of this new season, I am honored to not just be joined by one, but actually two of my co-hosts here tonight. Both Phil and LittleWing are joining me. Hello.
Hey, Archangel.
Hello, everybody. This is my favourite show, and it's not because we spend 120 minutes talking about how right I'll be, or how right I was.
La 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 la.
I really like this. I really like this show, just because we get to talk about Blood Bowl for 120 minutes, and we get to talk about UKBBL Blood Bowl for 120 minutes.
I could not agree with you more. Shamefully also about you being correct. It seems to be at this point it's hard to say that it's luck anymore, but I will still stick to it. And it's clearly just because I have bad luck that I keep guessing wrong. That's purely why. It's not lack of skills.
I was going to say I'm going to blame it on the players that I choose if it goes wrong for me at the end of the season. I think that's a totally reasonable approach.
That's definitely also an option to go with that. It was not me, it was the players. They failed to deliver. Yes, okay, fair enough. That's do you know what actually we completely forgot about, Phil? We should have a vote like we had last time for what the viewers
That's
think.
actually a really good idea. So I'll tell you what, I think in our first feature it's all me. Yeah. So it might be good while we're talking about the first bit, someone goes and puts the votes up. I think possibly we just do a vote for winner from Prem.
Yeah.
Probably it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so last season we did this. We'll put this in the Discord. We'll put it in the UKBBL Discord now in case, because we were kind of half talking amongst ourselves there, which is not helpful for a stream. No. But on the UKBBL Discord, either LittleWing or Archangel will be putting up in a moment.
I think it will be LittleWing because I am. Otherwise, it interferes with the stream being sent from my computer.
Sure. So it'll be there'll be 4 polls, but 2 polls will be for the West. 2 polls will be for the East because we can max out at 6 options. So it'll be a simple: which coach do you think will be winning the Prem West and Prem East? I'm getting some feedback, Archangel. Just noticed.
I think it might be from LittleWing, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it sounds like it's the volume up on LittleWing, or it's from somebody. That's fine. That's not a problem. Andy Davis not playing this season, DKMax. So it will be basically. Who do you think is going to... Shall we change the question for Prem West to who's going to be runner-up to Archangel? I think that's probably more appropriate.
No. It has to be a season where I can actually relax and not feel pressured.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, it's a true statement. We're basically playing who's going to either lose in the semi-final or lose in the final. He didn't, DK Max. He won every game in the whole season apart from the 2 that mattered.
Yes, I've lost 2 matches this season. It was the semi-cup final and both the FA Cup and the main playoff. So that was amazing. Good, perfect timing.
Yeah. So our first feature is basically, we've got I think 45 new coaches, and I don't know how many of them will watch this stream, but I suppose it makes sense to kind of talk about how does the UKBBL actually work. So for those people who don't know, the UKBBL is basically based on the English Football League pyramid, sort of. So we have 4 tiers with divisions in each, and we basically have a western side and an eastern side, except for where we have an odd number of divisions in the case of tier 3 and tier 4, which is the central divisions. And the idea is that if you finish at the top, you'll be promoted into the next tier, and you'll basically go up until you reach the Prem West or Prem East, where the top 2 from Prem West and the top 2 from Prem East will meet in a playoff. So the winners for Prem West will meet the semi-finalists or the runners-up from Prem East and vice versa, and they'll play each other. For the astute amongst you who are basically totting up the number of coaches, you might notice that there is 10 promotions in Tier 4, and there are 9 relegations in Tier 3. And basically, we've said this because we've never known a coach to not twist or run away from the top 3 tiers. So basically, we're saying that the top 2 will always be promoted. And I basically said to the commissioners, if no one twists or runs away in the top 3, I will twist myself to make it work. So yeah, historically though, with the twists and re-rolls, it tends to be those in Tier 4 tend to get promoted to Tier 3, those who stick anyway. But as our numbers have grown, we're at 151 coaches now for this season. I had a little look back, and our seeding season, which was 6 seasons ago, we only had 60. So it's been a massive increase back into the league. We're kind of almost at the same numbers we were sort of pre the announcement of Blood Bowl 3, which is good to see. But we are sort of around, well, we're 29 coaches, I think, from what I would certainly consider to be our feasible limit for the model we use for our league. So having something like a 2, 3, 4, 5, and then having a conference as basically our waiting area. So that's kind of really how it works, folks. Promotions top 2 or top 3, depending on your division. Relegations is bottom 3, unless of course it's Tier 3 into Tier 4, in which case if it's a case of we're shoving players who are playing new teams into Tier 3, we'd rather not relegate. So that was the case of, some people who are playing in Tier 3 this season did finish maybe second from bottom or third from bottom, and so should have been relegated. But due to the number of re-rolls, that's kind of the reason why. Yeah, so there we go. That's kind of how it works, folks.
Cool. I think it's sort of important to share it in the book.
I would also say with, I'm not sure, I don't, when we were kind of pre-talking, we didn't get to see kind of the number of coaches playing each race. And I know it's been put up on the Discord, but I would probably think that the number of twists and re-rolls will be high, historically, just purely because you've got a new race coming in every season. And so, yeah, I suspect you'll have one. So those are the numbers basically on there. I think Orcs still by far the most popular. And you've got 3 Orc teams which are frozen as well in the Prem. So you can almost consider that as 8 Orc teams. And I don't want to worry everybody, but I do think it is a case of all of the Natural Claw teams have been not in the Prem. And so as Khorne comes through in the next season, Norse start to get a bit higher up, Necro start training up their wolves. We're starting to see Necro now filtering in a little bit more heavily into the league, which is good because it will control the Armour 10 teams. I think that will be that's important for the health of the league, and that's one of the main issues with running a league, right? With only 2/3 of the teams available.
I think we're jumping a little bit around, but we can cover this now. I think actually, if you look at this, is the percentage of each of the divisions, tiers, and how they are, and you can actually see Orcs are prevalent in Prem, but as you go down the tiers, they get less and less prevalent. It also means that it's because that they are, whereas a lot of Orc teams that started to begin with, and they have sort of moved up the tiers, but there's not as many coming in compared to the old days, because there's more and more now diverse, more and more teams coming out. So the Orcs seems to be thinning out, but there's still, because it's the teams have been hanging around for the longest. You can see it much clearer, I think, over here. Lizardmen sort of the same, also one of the original, let's call it, big teams that came in. And
yeah, and I mean, you can see it, the Necro graph actually shows it really nicely.
Yeah.
Is that so? Necro released, I think, was it 2 seasons ago?
Yeah.
On the game, and so you've got a massive drop off in the Altdorfs and the Prem for Necro, but that makes sense because teams have been re-rolling. We've got some classic Necro coaches that are in the Altdorfs at the moment. So Dragonsbane is one of them. Is like a classic Necro coach. I call him a classic Necro coach because he played Necro on Blood Bowl 2.
But you can also see like Amazons are starting to come in. They're just percolating the coming in here.
Love how Old World Alliance are being kept at that percentage, basically through Gav and Waldorf's stubbornness to re-roll. Quite good. They keep giving them a reason to exist, which is quite funny.
Yeah.
Oh, and the one last thing. Would you mind just going back to the league structure, just so everybody doesn't understand, including Archangel, because he didn't get this. Right, I'm going to explain this really, really easily. If we can get back to the original slide.
There we go.
So, the names: Woods and Forest are tier 4, Hills are tier 3, Altdorfs are tier 2, and Prem's tier 1. Isn't that nice and sequenced, folks?
Yes. And then my OCD brain goes, yes, except that we have
wood. There's been some private disagreements about the flow of that. But yeah.
Yes. And we have a wood that is a forest apparently, and so on. But let's
when your admin is one of the commissioners who's basically been a commissioner since season 2 of the league, you let him have that, right? I think that's fair.
I also think, let's call it this way, Brits are not known for not sticking to protocol. Is that fair to say?
I think that's fair.
Are you saying we're eccentric, Archangel?
Well, remember, you are weird if you're poor, you're eccentric if you're rich. So I'll leave that for yourself to decide. I'm not rich, so I'm just weird.
Should we get on with some predictions then? Have we got the? Oh yeah, we've got some polls in here. Yeah, go and do some voting, folks. Go and do some voting. Where do you want to start? Start at the bottom. Start with me.
Yes. And I
so
think...
these are the coaches who will be finishing in the top 3. This is not a prediction. This is prophecy.
Yes.
Just want to point it out. Okay.
I just wanted to make a short shout out to Hornet for his really lovely banners. You'll see them as we move downwards here, but I just really wanted to mention and thanks for making them for us so that we have some lovely art here. I think it really helps set the mood, so to speak. And I love to see...
we need to keep these files and we need to keep them somewhere.
I have them.
And these will just be the official banners for our divisions. I suspect we can do some clever stuff with taking like the numbers off, but
yeah, we'll figure something out with that.
But those banners are amazing.
Yeah.
They're so good.
Especially love Coals of Hills. That's
that's a nice one.
Cool. Should we start at the bottom then? Which one are we starting with? I'll put my notes in front of me so I can know what I'm
Forest East.
Oh yeah, the forest. So this is one of them. This is the first time I think this division's come back for a few seasons. And picking through these, it was basically just could I pick out some either teams that I like the look of or some coaches that I can at least see through Blood Bowl 3 anyway with high win rates. That's basically how I predict in this bottom ones. So my top 3 essentially, I'll start third. So the third has got to be Kinjin. And it's got to be Kinjin because basically he keeps screwing up my predictions anyway. So if I put Kinjin as third, it means that basically I suppose that's the way that he can screw it up, is he can not be in third. Second in Altern, and these next two are just UKBBL stalwarts, and yes, this next person I consider now a UKBBL stalwart, and that's Chuck Dredd. and the Amazons. I will say I'm not sure I like this division for Amazons. There's a lot of tough matchups I think for Amazons, but their coach is Chuck Dredd, so I think they'll be fine. And then the other one, that there's only really one choice on this, and it has to be Ceramol. Former UKBBL winner back in, I think it's like season 17 with Wood Elves, started again. I played Ceramol at the UKBBL TT as the last match, and I'd already had enough of humans, and he showed me no mercy and won the game 3-0. So yeah, if you're in a dark place with your team, do not expect Ceramol to show you any kindness. He will score when he wants to coin a UKBBL football supporters phrase. So that's kind of where we are. I mean, we can't really talk a lot about these because these are a lot of new teams. But if I was to pick out,
I think I would agree with your picks. My only, let's call it, joker in that is, like you say, it is not a Amazons, Wood Elf, and human friendly league. So that's my own concern. And like you said, there's lots of good coaches too and stuff like that. But yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's good coaches in there. Like both the Shambling Undeads will be good. The thing is that Sminties is a Wood Elf coach, and I'm sure he's very good with Shambling Undead. But it is a bit of a sea change to go from Wood Elves to Undead. But he's been playing the game long
they
enough.
Don't work the same way. I was sure they were.
They 100% do not. And obviously Mickey's new, so I don't know anything about Mickey. I had a little look on Blood Bowl 3. I don't think there's that many games played on there, so kind of not enough data to make a conclusion.
Yeah.
So those are my three. Whether they will be those three at come at the end of the season, we'll have to see. Right, Griffin's Wood, which is Waldorf's patch. Yeah. So let's go 3, 2, 1 again. So 3 was Arcan, good strong Necro team, and has had a full season of had a full season back in the UKBBL and the conference re-rolled. Second is going to be Milky. So Milky is one of the new coaches, but there's data to support that he could be quite good. If you go and have a look on nuffle.xyz, you can go and have a look at your own stats if you want to. And top in this league I had as Your Evil Ways, purely for the fact of he has a very disgusting Shambling Undead team that's come down from Barren Hills, and he should be able to beat down a lot of these new teams. He's going to be playing Bomber twice and Cindy once, so I think he'll probably be okay. Yeah.
Interesting. So it's definitely the dead mix rise from this. You're predicting, I see.
Yeah, it's quite a bashy league, this one. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of you've got some you've got the Sir obviously playing Dark Elves, but I think the Dark Elves actually, when I played them, showed exactly what they were about. I scraped into the playoffs in the seeding season. We had like 7 games, didn't we, or 6 games. I scraped in because one person lost a game in another division, or there was like an admin or something. I scraped in the Prem. In the next season, when we were playing between 1200 and 1400, I got into the playoffs, and then every season since I've really struggled, or I've been like finishing mid-table. So I think the Sir will probably be. It'll find it tough at the beginning of the season. At the end of the season, they'll be pretty good. Probably go up. Dark Elves again will be really good in tier 3. It's in tier 2 and tier 1. That's where they'll start to potentially come a cropper. But the Sir's a good coach anyway. Right, Great Forest. It's another new one. And of this, I will say, Great Forest is probably, of the races, the least balanced. And the only reason this is the only reason that this is because this was going to be the conference, but due to interest in the league, they've basically become an extra tier 4. So this one's going to be interesting. So Great Forest, third is going to be Gyro, Hope I said that right. So there's not a lot of data on Gyro. I think he's basically registered for Blood Bowl 3, but I quite like humans in this division. With the mix of teams, I quite like humans. They're not going to be a bad matchup. They'll just be really solid. And if Gyro happens to be a good coach, will be good. Second's going to be Warsner, who's got a over 60% win rate with Orcs and has played over 700 games on Blood Bowl 3. This guy knows exactly what he's doing. And I think Bombadil has mentioned to me that Warsner has featured in Chalice, I think, more than once. So this will be a coach to watch in the UKBBL if they stay around.
Exciting.
That's got humans on that, but it should say Orcs. Yeah, but that's okay. The last one is Stunted Brain, and this guy is a coach. Like, this guy is seriously good. So I think Doug found Stunted Brain at the Scottish Championship a couple of weekends ago. And if you go and have a little look on Blood Bowl 3, his Lizardman record is 75% plus. This guy's going to win this division.
Wow.
And he's going to win it well, because this guy's a good coach. I mean, there's other good coaches in there, but if you look at any of these, I don't think you'll find anything with a 75% win rate. So yeah, Stunted Brain's going to win this league.
My only counter argument, and it's not to bullshit Brain, like, you don't get 75% easy, but like, Lizardmen are a team that, like you said, the Dark Elf, they do struggle a little bit to begin with. Like, they will much prefer Season 2, whether they be in the same tier or not, but just having a few skills really helps them. But like 75%,
100%.
That's impressive.
But, La 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 Prout is the living embodiment of the fact that you don't need skills on a team win things.
True.
So,
True. There's always exceptions. I'm just saying, like, that's the only, like, I think there's a good chance that prediction will hold. Not disputing that. I was just saying, like, I think the main threat to that not happening should always be, like, it's a brand new Elizabeth team. But yeah.
So Drakwold, I think that again, this was kind of pin the tail on the donkey with a blindfold on, because I've got no idea. The only one I definitely know is who's going to win this, I think, and it's for the same reason as Griffins would, because they've had a team come down. So Drakwold, I've got Thunder 11102 as my third.
Yeah.
So they are, again, just Orcs. They're just really good. Orcs just good. So, you know, they'll be quite forgiving, as you always say.
Yeah.
And I think if you look through this league, this division, I think it's quite a nice one for Orcs. They're not playing a lot of elves. They've got one elf team to play. I'd be more worried if they had to play Union or Dark Elves again a couple of times.
Or more Amazons.
So, yeah. Second is going to be Slim Jono and the Shaman and Undead. Again, it's just a nice race to start with, and the race suits this group of teams. And top is going to be Polly, 71. Again, it's so that team is not new. That's a well, they're returning, but they are basically an 1175 orc roster. They've got a few skills, but for example, like, they've got a bench, they've got an Apo. It's just little things that are just going to help them start.
Hit the ground running, I think.
A bit more stability.
It's just, obviously it is just easier. But again, like, I've picked two orcs and I picked Shambling Undead because I think, you know, Skaven will be hybrid, but they'll need to do some bashing. Amazons will be hybrid, but they'll need to do some bashing. You've got another Skaven in there. Chaos Chosen have to do bash. Nurgle have to do bash. Halflings are halflings. Norse are bash. And Daggers, Lizardmen are bash. So both Orcs and Shambling Undead should do quite well, because they've got better skills initially.
It's also
based on...
it's a weird division, like in a good way. Like you got Nurgle, you got Halflings, you got Norse, you got Amazon, you got Dark, like a bit of everything. Like that's gonna be a really interesting like conundrum.
I will say though, if the Dark Elves get off to a fast start,
oh yeah,
they'll be really strong.
Yeah.
Because there's other skills that if I was playing one of the Bash teams in here, I'd want to get before tackle.
Yeah.
Because, you know, look at the enemies you're playing. Okay, you've got some gutter runners, and you've got some dodge halflings you can look to murder.
Well, you list them in has skinks, halflings, gutter runners. Probably no goblins, but definitely Amazon, definitely Dark Elves, and like the majority have dodge.
Yeah. I actually think Bush Rangers obviously are resident halfling cheerleader.
Yes.
I think stunties can be quite good, because I actually think the star players and the inducements you can get are actually quite good, and I don't necessarily think that stunties are good season 1, but once everybody starts getting a bit of gap to you and you can actually start getting some extra toys, I think then stunties can actually mix it up if they get some decent dice.
For my limited halfling experience, my experience is halfling works better after a few seasons, mostly because other teams, like you said, gives you more inducements, whereas goblins actually work really good out of the gate, and the higher you get up in team value and more season your team gets, the more you're going to struggle. It's sort of interesting, but
yeah. So we'll go and move on to my lot, which is Lorelorn.
Yep.
And again, 3 coaches. I wouldn't say this was easy to pick, but again, just knowing some of the coaches and looking at some of the data behind it, I found this one easier to pick than, say, for example, Drakwold. So third is going to be Itchin, and I did love. He made a comment on the Discord saying, "Please don't make this old man work out how to use the blush emoji," but I just like Itchin. He's just a really good coach, and he's playing Wood Elves, which is always a good team out of the gate. You know, I mean, obviously they've got to play some dwarfs at some point. They've got 2 dwarf teams, but again, you can just run away from them, right? So, Itchin will do well. Second in there is going to be Simo. Again, just a really good coach. Has gone for something obviously more durable than the Wood Elves. I still think it is really hard in it, because essentially we're playing a perpetual league with a cap, and so obviously the higher armor teams, they can last a bit longer, and the breaks on them aren't as noticeable. Whereas on a Wood Elf team, which Simo re-rolled, I mean, his star War Dancer had 3 breaks on him, plus a stat bust, which was ridiculous. You know, you're not rolling a napper on that. Whereas Shaman and Undead, obviously, you're going to be able to get some survivability on them. The last one, again, this is just another good coach, is John Liu, or Gandalf. Gandalf 6 has a 63% win rate with Dark Elves.
Really nice.
It's really good. The only thing I did worry about, and I'm sure that there's a reason for the 6, but because I play Smite, F6 is to surrender, and so I'll just remind you all, folks, that we have very, very strong penalties for conceding. So for all of those new coaches, please don't concede your games, because you'll feel the wrath of the commissioners. Yeah.
With the caveat, remember, if you have 3 players to field and the game offers you to concede, that is legal. But
yeah, you can do that, yeah.
Anything other than that is not.
I mean, I will say, folks, you can concede if you want to. We have a protocol for following it, and there are consequences to conceding. But yeah, I've never come across a situation, apart from in a tournament, where I would go, it's actually worth conceding. And the tournament game was basically because I was down to 2 players, or I was down to like 4 players, and it was like the second half. Second half drive. Thanks, Blue Lights. I remember it was you. Right.
I think it's also slightly funny that the 2 Wood Elves from Prem who Twisted have both chosen to be scrambling undeads. I think they has to be resting from the dead.
It is a hark back to the fact of, if you've done your time as that breakable team, you just want something that will stick around and you can actually build a team. And again, that's another reason why if you look at the elves who've won UKBBL titles, Dark Elves have been the ones to win it because they've got the most durability out of the rest of them. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but we'll see what happens when redraft comes in. But again, if we were a league that basically had we had 12 different leagues and we send all of our top 2 into a playoffs, we'd probably have a lot more Wood Elf winners and Elven Union and things like that. Yeah. Our league does, if you want to win, encourage you to play an Armour 10 or an Armour 9 team. But I still think it's worthwhile playing Armour 8. You can win with Armour 8.
Well, Corn Knight has done really well, so I think definitely shows you that Armour 8 plus is possible.
Yeah. Well, actually, my example would be Louis, because he's basically taken Wood Elves from the bottom up to the top, and he has a good team. We'll talk about that later, but he's shown you can get a team from the bottom up to the top and have a pretty decent roster when you get there. It obviously just takes quite good management of the roster. So that's tier 4.
Yeah.
Pop what you think about that in the chat.
I will though say that Bill has a fairly large track record at this point of being very often right, which is almost to the point where it's a bit annoying, but that's a slightly different issue. Yeah. For better and worse, I am the winner of this year to cover the hills. I have a little bit more information to go by in the sense that all these teams are not fresh teams, and we have where they were last season and how many points they did. And you can also go in and see how well developed they are and stuff like that. So it gives us a little bit more information. And if I was probably any good at predictions, I should probably be doing better than I usually am. But that's usually not how it goes. So let's just rip off the band and start where we have to go, because of course we have to go with Mortakinen, just purely because I know he loves that he gets the shout out every season.
He hates it. Have you not learned this yet? He hates it.
I'm definitely not saying that's why I'm doing it.
But again, for new coaches, I just want to point out, I used to do, when we were on the website, I used to do a write-up basically of the predictions for the FA Cup when I used to run the FA Cup. And I think I predicted Mortakinen to win it 5 seasons in a row because he was playing a monster Chaos Dwarf side. And I think he went out on the first round 4 out of those 5. On the 5th time, he actually won the damn thing. But it was just really funny how I predicted him basically to win it every year, and he always went out first, which is quite funny. However, you have put him 3rd, not as the winner.
I would, though, however, say that I actually think also like a 3rd ranking, I don't think is far from off. I think for me, especially if you look at the points, you can see like 25 points, 28 points, definitely gonna have to be 1 and 2, right? Also because of who was playing them and the races and how that fits. And I think that's what Mortakinen comes in at for free. Also because I think especially something like Norse and some of the other teams will definitely struggle against Blackhawks.
They're a better Season 2 team as well, aren't they?
Yeah. And they Blackhawks needs the skills like Lizardman and Chaos, or as we put it earlier, definitely benefit from it. I think getting 25 points and in mute mud What? How do you pronounce that? What?
Moot.
Mute.
Moot.
Mute.
Boot.
It's almost like boot. Okay.
Yeah.
So, that's very impressive. I would though say that getting 28 and Griffin Woods, I think is just outstanding, and I think this is probably the one I feel most comfortable with that this should have a good chance of ending up like this, and this will of course just mean that this of course will be the one I end up being most wrong on. Of course, I know that how that works, but getting like, what is it, 33 is max, right? So this is quite impressive, and I also think again with the Norse and Black Orcs and stuff, I think that the Wood Elves and the Romantic should be well suited for that.
Yeah, I will also say, because I know he's quite hard on himself, but I will also say this is not a good division for Orcs.
No.
This is really not a very nice division for Orcs at all. And so I know Glorious Ruse is quite hard on himself, but he might find these matchups quite tough.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't be hard on himself, is basically what I'm trying to say.
I think also usually like the Orcs will like to have one more season before they really get like off the ground.
Yeah. I mean, actually, if you go through that, there's going to be claw everywhere.
Yeah.
Like that, Chaos Chosen is going to have claw. Both the Norse will. The Chaos Chosen will. The Nurgle will. The Skaven could, if they take the Roger and take claws on it. That would be my only wild card, and that would be Sam Like Ska. They didn't have a full season in Lorelorn because they were playing in the Moot, and so their number of points is not representative necessarily of how their season went.
No,
would be the.
But I think also, if I remember correct, it also their team isn't, because of the fewer matches, of course, therefore also not as well developed as say the others of this league.
Mark wants to start a whole debate about Yetis in Norse.
I think that's a 2-hour seminar for another day.
Yeah, we'll do another stream for that.
Yes. And the correct answer for anyone who cares is, of course.
I know obviously there's some people who would probably think he isn't. Definitely in a league, though, I would say he is.
It is not a starting position, but it is, in my opinion, over the long haul, definitely.
Actually, if you just scroll up again to Colsa,
yeah,
this is what I was trying to illustrate about the point about, you know, the fact that you've got teams coming in. In the olden days, Orcs would have loved divisions, but now you've got Norse and Necro, and now you've got Chaos and Nurgle, and you know, there's possibly why you're seeing less teams picking Orcs.
Yeah, I think we are seeing less Orcs like per tier, and it's going down over the seasons and over tiers, which I think is a good sign that they're getting less and less. I think it's also because comparatively, like playing against Amazons as an Orc player is not really, until you get the skills, not something you want to do. Playing against Dwarves, there's also there's an uptick in Dwarves, which I'm actually quite happy to see. But there's just
actually that is noticeable. Dwarves have gone up,
yeah,
which is good, because you do need Dwarves. You need every team, because every team then forces you to prepare your team against everyone else's.
Yeah,
whereas everyone's just playing.
Sorry, you're starting to see with the new races a sort of rock paper scissors how Blood Bowl was designed, starting to emerge after a few seasons.
Yeah, I think that's, especially with the races, that was at the very beginning a huge issue, was that because of the rock paper scissors system, there wasn't enough of those things that really beat Orcs reliable, and hence Orc became a better race compared to the others, because they were missing their counters, and as much as the counters now have like started to appear, the Orc supremacy I think is going to go out the window slowly and steadily. Like Korn, Amazons, there's like Necro, there's like a lot of those teams that are like, yeah, I don't mind playing orcs. With the orcs would probably go like, yeah, we don't want to play them. But yeah, be interesting to see if that trend continues.
Tector's put, I think most undead beat orcs reliably. How did the semi-final go again?
Yeah, I can definitely just say from all like the semi-final sort of just confirms it in my opinion. Like as an orc player, you don't want to play undead, which is why I'm also so happy that I get to face Fantas in the first round, because it's exactly which was exactly not what I wanted. But yeah, I think I've just put it under the category of like, yeah, at least that it's over, that I don't need to worry about it the rest of the season. Anyways, for the kills, I think this one, at least for my opinion, was the harder of the three for me to sort of pick who to go with. I think again, like for those who are like really minding the details, I've sort of marked the teams that are moving down and the teams that are moving up, so you can see which ones are which. It also means that 21, 23, 20 something from the other, like this is like the candidates. Like I don't think generally teams that are going down could potentially do a rebound. That's usually why you are like, I think usually it takes a season to rebuild, and then you can go upwards, and that will go for more or less any of the brackets that we will be looking on today. That's sort of why I don't think they because it's not because these aren't good coaches, they're just been outmatched for and would usually have to rebuild, because if you are losing multiple games in a row, you don't get as much money, you don't get as many skill points, so you start to sort of like progression wise with your team stop losing momentum. So you need to rebuild that momentum, and that usually takes a season, and then you can sort of wrap up again. So usually these teams that are coming in that already won a lot of matches last season, have a lot of gold, have a lot of star player points, should be on a upward trajectory, right? So that's why these are the more likely candidates. Not. Then if we look at the races that are like it's not surprising that this have to be my suggestion number one, right? Like also because many of these are actually from the same division, so as much as they all matured another season, most likely it will be familiar faces for him again, so it should be definitely. The only exception is down here, which is from Mood instead. I was not 100% sure on this, but again, like I said, this is Necro is always a good option, I was going to say. And just to not make it double Necro, and also just for maybe other reasons, I think it's going to be Hornet and humans, because we like humans.
Oh, okay, right. That's fine. I was like, are you mentally insane? Don't go against the data. But no, I get what you say, Hornet. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I will just say, just because we've had a text has kind of raised about relegation. So remember the commissioner's view is what we don't want is we don't want to relegate everybody who should be relegated from tier 3. If that means then we have to start new coaches in tier 4 or in tier 3.
Yeah.
So although these two as an example, and then you got 3 more in Barren Hills who I'm not sure if they would have been relegated, but I know one of those coaches in Farlek Hills was down to be in tier 4, but with the fact that we had enough people essentially twist, it meant that they essentially were safe from relegation, and it's purely just for making sure we don't have new coaches. The reason why they might have changed postcodes is for balance. It's probably the reason.
Race.
So
balance.
Yeah, so it means like you don't have 5 orc teams in one division.
This also, like I said, is probably the division that I'm most unsure of that will end up looking like my predictions. So, of course,
So
that
that's the
means
one that's
my
gonna be right.
expectation is. Can you say LittleWing? Can you repeat?
So that's the one that's going to end up being right then. For
Exactly.
You. Okay.
That is that. Like that's the logic, right? Like that's how it works, right? It also means that if we go down to this last bracket here of Barren Hills, with the same logic, some of these are from Aldorf, some of them are from Hills already. I think most likely these will again spend a season recovering.
I know which coach of those 12 is going to be having the best time.
Yeah. I think usually people don't like playing against halflings when they get a lot of inducements. And I could be wrong here, but I think there is a lot of inducements in the pipeline coming down.
Bushranger's going to have a great season. But then again, to be fair, I've never met a stunty coach who is not having a good time.
Generally, if you're playing goblins or halflings, you are looking to have fun matches. You are not looking to win everything. That is usually my experience. It is to have fun and enjoy the game. And
I think they're great people. They're just great people.
Yes, I love the fact that they want to play along with everyone else. That is, I think, double commendable.
All of us people who take the game far too seriously.
Yes. Someone needs to balance the other ones out, right? So, it also means that if I look at the rest here, they're more or less all from Lauren, which means that they almost already have had a trial at this, right? So this is round 2, just like the division above. So I think there's a good chance that it will be more or less the same order. So I will, however, do a slight adjustment. It might be controversial or might not be. I think because the care side here is now more developed, I'm going to give them first spot. And I actually think that they might overshadow the Necros this season. And I could be wrong, but this is my gamble. And I think the Orcs will still do fine, but I still think...
gamble.
I think they will still be able to sort of sustain. But I've swapped these two, which is it's mostly down to the fact that this is very close anyway. Like, this is not a huge gap. But I think the Chaos side will be more developed at this point, and that might be a more deciding factor than anything else. So if I should go, this is the one I feel most comfortable with. This is second most, and this one is yeah, we'll see what happens.
I would just be interested in Whirliest Dervish, who they played 10 games, so they played one less than most of the other coaches around them.
Yeah.
But they could be one to watch, I think.
Definitely. I also think...
Phil, just going back to the halflings, have we ever had a stunty get up to the Prem in UKBBL?
Yes, and they had a fabulous time getting relegated. I can tell you probably the name of the team as well if I go to my League of Legends draft sheet. They may have not got to the Prem. They might have got to the Altdorfs. But I can tell you the team. It would have been the Lancashire Hot Pots.
What a great name!
Yes.
Yeah. And again, I talk about this player every time we talk about halflings. So there's been 2 Hall of Famer halflings. They're both in the UKBBL Hall of Fame. So the first one is Tope, who was a sure feet, sprint, double movement boosted, double agility boosted halfling.
Wow.
Victor is saying that Cormac, he's 90% sure he was in Prem with Flings. In chat.
Yeah, Cormac would be a candidate. I just can't remember whether that was Cormac. The other Hall of Famer was Randy Pearson. He played for the Anaheim Flying Ducks. and he was a catch, block, sure feet, movement boosted, agility boosted sprinter. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't played the game as long as other people, but this would have been in the days where actually the dice rolls would have been random, and it would have been a case of you'd needed to roll 10, 11, or 12 to get your stats increases.
Yep.
So the fact that you were able to get a halfling that got 2 agilities and 2 movements is utterly insane.
Yeah.
Yes, that is 4 rolls of 10 plus on 6 rolls. That's pretty impressive.
I mean, it certainly makes the player easier to become a legend.
Oh, definitely.
So there we go.
So we are up to Alto's East. Phil.
Oh, it's me again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. So we're going to just take a little seg. We'll do East first. We'll do East then.
Yeah.
We can talk about the West because I had my things up here. Okay, so East. Yeah, I've got my 3 here. So these ones I think are really tough to predict, basically, because at this point you've got developed teams. Also, the coaches are good. So you're basically looking for between fine margins. So I'll start with Old Dwarf East. So I had third is our very own LittleWing from... oh no, my name's not in the list. Oh, is it because I haven't mentioned you, DK Max? I don't know. Oh,
DK Max is here.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Maybe I haven't said your name yet. Let's find out, shall we? Yeah, so basically, LittleWing has got a mentor. I think we've started to tell him to random everything.
Absolutely.
And so these dwarves are going to just be disgusting. And it helps that LittleWing plays them well as well. So I suspect the dwarves will... To be fair, the team was already really good. And the only reason I can think of that dwarves get relegated is bad luck. I don't think in the division that you come down from, it doesn't feel like there's any other reason as to why dwarves would get relegated. Just bad luck. So I suspect the dwarves will be fine this season. And essentially, LittleWing has done this before, has got relegated and gone straight back up. So I expect that to happen. Was it 12 draws? LittleWing?
Well have been. It was 7 draws. I got the 7 in the wrong column.
You're really, really selling the fact that dwarves are a great team to watch.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Second.
That's perfect.
Second, this is going to be controversial because I reckon a lot of people would put this person first. And that's going to be BB Nut. That's going to be my second place. So we obviously know BB Nut is a very, very good coach. I just know that he loses to the coach who's going to win, and that's going to be Blue Lights. I think this is the second season, or it might even probably be the third season, when that essentially Blue Lights has lit up the division that he's playing in. I don't think Blue Lights has got anything less than 28 points in the 3 seasons he's played Wood Elves. I think he's played Conference, he's then played Tier 4 and then Tier 3. So I think that's fairly easy.
I think it's also very telling and very impressive that not only do you get 28 points, that's impressive, but you had 2 of them in the same league. Like, that's...
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, remember when we say, I mean, so I do also think coach, I'm going to use a teacher word here, coach attainment, because it sounds better than ability. Well, actually, it's true. It's not ability. It's your attainment. So I think at this stage, it's a case of which coaches make fewer little mistakes as well.
Yeah.
And I suspect, I mean, we all know BB Nut's a very good coach, and I've played against Blue Lights a tabletop tournament, and his dice were so terrible. That's the reason why. That's the reason why I didn't win. But yeah, I suspect these coaches just don't make a lot of mistakes, and that's why they will head to the Prem. I'm certain of this. They will go up. Then there's a lot of other coaches that are very, very close, and I think you could probably shake a bag and pull out the names and be quite close to what they are. I mean, the points are quite close as well. I mean, you look below that, it's 23-20, and then you've got a group of coaches on 17 and 14. Like, they'll all be really close. I suspect, based on those points, I suspect relegation will be quite tight. It's going to be quite tight down the bottom, and I think there'll still be a lot to play for a lot of coaches right until the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this league. Like the rock, paper, scissors thing that we talked about earlier, you can see that in this league. It's going to be lots of different types of games, and that's good.
Yeah. It'll basically come down to how can teams get past their nemesis side. Can the Dark Elves, for example, get past the Dwarves? Can the Orcs get past the Nurgle? And can the Nurgle not lose to the Wood Elves and Dark Elves? So, I'm sorry, Max. I did have you as my wild card last time, I think. Yes. But I was told I was only allowed 3. I wasn't allowed 4. Which I blame Archangel for, because he puts this all together. So if you have complaints, please post them to him and not to me.
And it has to be in free copies on a pink paper, if it should be accepted. No.
Yeah. I think he prefers, ranting voice notes.
Yes.
Does our Archangel.
Voice messages.
Please send your ranting voice note about the UKBBL to Archangel at Discord.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Altdorf West. Right. I just think I want to do this one, but we need to go into the game for this, folks. Yes. So all you people who are listening and watching, I want you to just look through these teams. Okay? So I think Archangel's going to send us to here. We're going to click in them one at a time. All right. Now this might take us 2 minutes, but I'm just going to kind of go through and go, right. Nurgle does what Nurgle do. It's got a killer. Has got some decent pieces. You can go back. I'm basically going to do this. I'm going to say 2 sentences. You can now go back. That's fine.
Just next. Load. Their servers are not quick today.
Need a faster internet. I know actually the internet's not the problem.
I got fiber, so
everybody should get fiber. It's so good, folks.
Perk of living in the city.
Right. Again.
Killer team.
Wow.
That's a chaos team that does chaos things, right?
Yeah.
Next. Now we've had two teams so far that have done exactly what they're meant to. Have a look at that Necro team. Sidestepping Mighty Blow Tackle Wraith. And then 2 werewolves with block. Mm-hmm. Next. You must be pressing a button instead of pressing the back. I usually just press the back.
Yeah, I'm using the...
I'm going to say this is my favourite team of the whole lot. This is my favourite team of the whole lot because they've got a movement 9 catcher. That's awesome.
That is...
I love that. Sweet. I love the fact they've got a movement 9 catcher. And it's sidestep, and it's sure feet. And they've got a dirty player who is obviously savings for sneaky git.
Oh, yes. This is a legend in the making.
Oh, yeah. You can go back on the next one. Now, I just want you to keep in mind, folks, while we've been doing this, have you seen your candidate to win this yet? Because I haven't. Orc team that does orc things. It has block across the board, and it has some tackle, and it has some mighty blow, and it has some guard, and it has its troll that stands in the way.
Yeah.
Next. Yeah, you won't like this if you're a gutter runner or a dark elf, right? Speaking of dark elves...
That's nice, actually.
So, from my perspective,
I don't
this
know.
is an ideal Dark Elf team apart from the Assassin.
I like it with.
I understand. I understand why you take the Dark Elf Assassin, but that's an ideal Dark Elf team.
Yeah.
You only need the sidesteppers. That's sidesteppers, and then you've got the tackle mighty blow. After like what are they 2 seasons old?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that. Look at all that stuff.
That is some humans.
Movement 8 Blitzer. Movement 9 Catcher. The only thing I don't like about the Catcher is that this is the same as with Waldorf's one. It doesn't have agility boosted yet.
Yeah.
Right. So this one is EVs, but you have to remember as well, EV finished mid-table with a rookie Dark Elf side and in a developed division. But he's still got block dodge and Rog, and he's got a couple of dodge pieces.
This is only 1 season old, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's quite nice for a 1-season team.
Oh, definitely. Oh yeah, I remember this one.
So this is also not very nice. This team. So you've got your Fowler, and then you've got that absolutely horrid skink that you just can't stop.
Yep. Wow.
I mean, obviously, I'd prefer the Crocs not to have an armor splat, but
yeah.
Right then, goblins be goblins.
The right.
But you have to remember
the right skills.
You have to remember with this is basically they've got on the roster what they need, which is 2 block trolls. That's all they need.
Yeah.
And their TV's lean.
Yeah. They need sneaky kid on this one, but other than that, it's fully optimized.
And you're going to get start of the season. You're going to get 260.
Yeah.
2 bribes, a bomber, and some fanatic.
Can you take fungus as well?
Yeah. That would
fungus be quite nice. I mean, he's left 2 spaces basically, Ripper and Varrock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have Varrock. Stick the ball on Varrock. You're not gonna get it off him very easily. Just shove goblins in front of him. And then you got the humans who have played a game today, so it looks like they've lost some players.
Yeah.
But you have to kind of look at it from the prospect of, if that blitzer was not missing the next game. And there was a catcher that basically had I think an agility bust. Yeah. But I mean, that catcher is clearly saving for a stat as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they played the chaos and they got beaten up quite badly.
Yeah, it looks like they were bruised.
Yeah, so I think we've had something like 5 games played across the league so far. Is one of them. Okay, folks. So basically, my question was, who was your winner from that? Because like, all those teams are good. I mean, we can argue about a few of those things. You know what I'm going for, though, right?
Yeah.
So, Moot's already halfway done week 1. They're keen down there, gotta say. All right, so amongst all that, I've basically had to choose 3 people out. So third, I'm going to go Waldorf. He's missed out on promotion the last 2 seasons. I'm going to back him to go and do it this season.
He'd be so happy for you mentioning his name.
I mean, I just think that so this is an opinion, and I've spoken to someone else who's played a lot of Old World Alliance. It basically said, don't take the dwarf blockers. You don't take the dwarf blockers. Everything else you take, but you don't take the dwarf blockers. And it's for a pure reason of, for 2 of them with the loner, you can get 3. You get 3 human linemen, which they're not as durable. You can still take the blitzer, and you can still take the what's the other one?
Troll Slayer.
the Troll Slayer. And you can't take a tree man as well on a human roster. So I mean, you can take a tree, which is quite nice. It's a better roadblock because you don't obviously have the. I mean, it might get stuck, but it's not going to turn off. Probably more the thing I would kind of say. But I suppose that's a debate that again we could spend another 2 hours on. Second, I'm going for Mats, basically because Mats has done well in every season, and Mats is a Prem coach. It's just he's not Prem because he's joined the league 2 seasons ago, and top. And this was before I saw today's result is going to be the Chaos. Prout. And I think if Chaos are going to win a title on Blood Bowl 3, this guy's their best prospect at the moment.
Well, I'll put it this way: like, even a good coach don't get 11 wins out of 11 matches. Like, you need both luck and a really good coach to keep that ship that stable to get 11 wins in a row.
So La did point out that 3 of the wins last season were admins. So he won 8 of his 8 games.
Okay.
But still. Yeah. Oh, he's here. Waldorf's here. Yeah, I missed you. No, I didn't say you were going to win. I said you're going to get promoted. But I didn't say you're going to win. No, we were just talking about the benefits of taking the dwarf blockers. And I'm assuming you take them off. You take them, do you, Archangel?
No, I said you are promoting the idea of not taking them, right?
Well, no, I've shared an idea that I have heard.
Yes.
I never said I was in that camp.
Okay.
But actually, that idea has some merit to it.
I think so.
But I mean, I suppose if you take the dwarves, you don't need to take as many rerolls because you're not going to use them. Because what's the point? I mean, you're right. It's an AV10 guard caddy, but yeah, they might let you down in that key point, and you can't use the reroll. But I think it's just the loner. I think it's the loner. The idea again. You can all watch this on repeat on YouTube or Dave. Hopefully, if we get it big enough. For UK-based coaches, they'll understand that. Yeah. Oh, I got a laugh from LittleWing there. There we go.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Or deja vu if we're really bad.
I'll just nod from Denmark and go like, sure.
So Dave is basically a TV channel that does only repeats.
Ah.
That's it. But they do like repeats of like funny shows, so like quiz shows that just have comedians on and things like that.
Fawlty Towers.
Yeah. I'd rather have 2 rerolls and Cindy than 3 rerolls. That is correct. So yeah, this is my picks for the Alt Dwarfs, and I'm going to say right now that Alt Dwarf West is going to be the most hotly contested division in the entire league. And I'm going to declare that now.
Is that your way of saying that I'm not sure about these picks?
No, so that's my other prediction. I'm saying this is going to be the most tightly contested. I still think if I was to pick 3, I'd probably pick those 3. But there's easily a situation where those 3 don't finish those 3, and you have 3 other ones. I mean, you just go down the list. Necro's a really good, solid pick. Ironclaw was, I think, like it was a result away from like being top 3. I mean, Mark's Dark Elves, I think, are pretty good, and again got a load of decent points. The Goblins nearly finished top 3. Dion's Orcs will just be really good. Zenjo won the FA Cup. Eevee's, well, just Eevee. Brunginho hasn't had a lot of luck with the humans, but has a good side, and obviously knows what they're doing because I mean, didn't they win the Clash of Clans, Clash of Titans, whatever we called it?
I think so.
Yeah. And again, Rufus has again just built a really good team. So it's just I just think that's going to be a really hard division to pick. Really hard.
No, I'd agree.
Cool. And we have made it all the way down to Prem E.
Okay.
All the way down. Is it all the way up? Are we not all the way up?
Well, it's down the list. It's up the
I
right
like the
tiers.
idea that we're perched at the top.
I would also like just to get into the OCD, like the structure. Like Prem is mentioned as tier 1, like, which also makes sense. It's the highest tier, but then you go up to tier 2, which is down up. Anyways. We have the same in the Danish Football League, where the highest division also carries the number 1, and then as you go divisions down, the number gets higher. But you are going up a division, and hence the... Anyways. So, we are here for predictions. LittleWing.
Okay, so Prem East. This is a wide open division this season. This is there's going to be no previous playoff teams or coaches in this division. And only 2 teams that I recognise from, was it 53 when I was over there, which is the Old World Alliance, G. Coleman, and RTSD's Blackhawks, and both of those teams are really nice. I went on a massive deep dive on this. I looked at coach win ratios, race win ratios. I looked at the teams, and then I finally settled on picking a 3-2-1, which is Tector in 3, and this is going to be controversial. May in 2.
It's not going to be controversial. They're going to love that.
And Spleggy in 1.
Ooh.
And what swayed me, and I know that Grumpelkins and Tactical Nuclear Penguin could, feel a bit dirty about that, but those 3 coaches have come through the leagues together, and they finish 1, 2, 3 every season on their way up. And of all the analysis I did, that was the thing that hit home. So that's my 1, 2, 3 for Prem East. I know Archangel's going to say Grumpelkins.
I was gonna say so. I love your reasoning, and I think there's a good chance that you will be right, and I'm usually wrong in the predictions. So it's all caveats taken here. I just think, in all fairness, also with who was in Prem East last season, that to get to 19 points with humans and almost making it to the playoffs, I don't know which of the other 3 that I should pick out from that list. I was going to say more or less, but yes, Phil, there's not 4 options. There's only 3, so I can't put him in as my 4th option. But I just think Grumpkin is Coleman and Penguin. They also really good. I don't think the Blackhawks is gonna make it to the playoffs, and that's mostly because it's Blackhawks, not because of the coach. I would rather say they're getting 16 points because of the coach, not because of the race. So
that is a nice Blackhawk team, though. If you look at it, if you take the time to go and look at it, it's a really nice Blackhawk team. And the same with the Old World Alliance. So yeah, controversial, but I've got a feeling Spleggy and May, who is Mathimus as well, they've had a running battle for 1-2, and I think they'll carry this over.
I especially also loved your reaction when I poked you a little bit about these predictions. It was like, yep, I perfectly stand by with them. So I love that.
Yeah, I'm standing by them. And if I look stupid in 3 months' time, well, I've upgraded that now. I'm just going to blame it on the coaches. I've gone even further.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a really valid reason why I wouldn't put those 3, and I can't seem to find one.
They've also got SPPs banked as well, which I think is really important. So in particular, the Sleggy and May, they've got... That's not going to be a 1,400 team when they start. Yeah. So we'll see.
We'll see.
I'd be interested to see how the Blackhawks do, because we've had some, Only Dead Man ran a very good Blackhawk side, and I don't know what stops them winning, because I think whenever I come up against Black Orcs, I'm terrified of them because
I think my most reason, this is at least my analysis, it's the Black Orc problem is movement 4. And that you need to sort of stay as a cohesive unit, those 4 movement, but that's all you get. And the goblins are just not strong enough that they can go out on their own. So you need to keep the blob, and then you need to get that into range. And it's sort of like the dwarf problem, basically. Again, they're really good at making draws and stuff like that, and hard to win against, but they're also really hard at getting that winning touchdown that they need.
You probably want to get the receive with them, don't you, as well? You probably want to win the coin flip, and you want to receive.
Yeah.
And if you don't receive, it then becomes quite hard.
Especially if you get up against something like elves, something which would just run off, and you lose so much attrition that you need for the second half.
I will also say, I'm again just trying to make arguments. This is a nice division for Necro, as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Tactical Nuclear Penguin did really well last season. Yeah. And yeah, so of the 2 that missed out, or 3, I think it's probably him, Grumpelkins, and G. Coleman. Although a shout out to Corbor for keeping Imperial Nobility in the Prem. I think that's a really good effort.
That's impressive.
I never understand what the hatred of Imperial Nobility. I think they're quite a solid side. I mean, they're expensive, but actually they come with some really good starting skills. If you started them right at the bottom, I think it's more impressive. Corbor's actually, he got them in there in the seeding season and has kept them there.
I think wasn't he in West and then went down and up again?
Yeah.
I seem to remember playing Corbear in Prem West.
Yeah. They're really, and Mathemus is right, they're really horrible to play against. Yeah, I do not enjoy playing against them when I'm at a tournament. No. Because you need to get rid of their bodyguards. If you can get rid of their bodyguards, life becomes a lot easier. Yeah. Because you can then move them.
I think the 1400 mark though it's one of those things where the race that starts to work against them. They're really expensive. They can't get the skills that everybody else can get. So you know, to hit a full roster and get the skills is difficult.
Yeah, and I mean, I suppose you could go down the randoming route, but unlike orcs, they don't stick around long enough.
No, because they're fragile.
Yeah. Well, more fragile than orcs, but yeah.
Well, you got the linemen have 8+. You got the guards who have 9+. So already there you're behind. It's only, as far as I remember, the catchers that have. No, there's none of them that have 10+ other than the ogre.
It's interesting point though by Tector is, do you actually almost play them as a low TV team? So you actually don't play with a lot of skills. You maybe play with 1 or 2 clear.
That's true. I think you're probably forced to, given the way that they go through linemen.
I think my biggest problem with them is their expensive rerolls.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's 70, isn't it? I think. But yeah.
If the rerolls weren't really so expensive, because you need them as a human.
I remember being explained the re-rolling cost. It's obviously meant to be about how controllable the team is, and although I get the idea that you have the nobility who are meant to be, that's obviously the nobility, so they play the Blood Bowl quite well, and then you obviously have the peasant foot soldiers who obviously are not meant to. I still think 70 is harsh, and I think they possibly should be priced at 60. If they wanted to keep the re-rolls thematic in terms of how much they cost.
I think if you made them 60, they would be semi-competitive. If you make them 50, they would be very competitive. I think basically you would move them, right now as finger on the arena, they are tier 3. If you made them 60, you could almost move them up to tier 2. Maybe with 50, they could maybe even move up to tier 1. Maybe.
I'm tempted to have a go at Imperial Nobility. It's a team actually I'd like to.
I'm playing them in the arena right now, and I think they're really fun, interesting to play.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would like to play them in a perpetual league because they do get injured quite often.
Yeah, they've
got good star player access though.
Yeah.
I think they get Cindy.
I think
And
we
then
do.
Griff,
Cool.
he just Griff's great, isn't he?
So, let's see. We got. Show results. Is that what I need to do? Yeah. Wow.
Prem West.
The
Random
votes
Prem
are
West,
very,
yeah.
very split. Like, guys and girls, it's more or less last chance to get your votes in for who's going to win Prem East and West. So get your votes in on Discord if you haven't done that already. And Prem West, the final bracket we are missing.
So I tried really hard to make a case for the teams that are coming up with this, and I good coaches and good teams. But I think if you just start to compare, the sort of orcs against the teams and coaches that are already in the division that are bash or hybrid, they're a little less developed, and I think it's same with the elves as well. So I've gone no surprises. The back-to-back Prem West winner, unbeaten last season and only shipped 4 touchdowns. Archangel, I think that was your record. Immense performance. You're number 1. And then out of the next 2 places, I think you can make a case for any 5 of the teams that are there. I picked Snow Troll and in 2 and Phil in 3. I think Tapestry's got a really nice team. I think Fantas lost his defensive white match 11 of last season. I think that's going to maybe hold him back against the Lizards and the Orcs. Maybe not so much the Orcs, actually. And I just think Ringtail's just a little bit beaten up. He's getting to that stage now where maybe it's the tipping point of a team that can not keep the stability together. He's starting with 11 players this season, and he I think he had almost 13 or 14 at the start of last season and flew out of the blocks. But it's a quite it's an 11 and not very stable. Lots of injuries around. So although I haven't played Rats for a long-term perpetual league, so maybe there'll be some coaches that will look at that and think that's all right. They can survive. And so I think an agility team got a really good shot at getting out of Prem West this season. And I think Dark Elves, Phil, that's a nice team. It's got the armor stability. I think they're the ones that go into 3 as the elves.
It's interesting because the Skaven play the Dark Elves match 1, and I think how that game will go, I think will define each team's season.
Oh, you're up match day 1, are you?
Yeah. So if I manage to get through that unscathed and win the game, because I get my Apo back. I basically need 120k from my first 2 games. I'm guaranteed 50, so I need my Apo back. But what I've found with Dark Elves is I absolutely have to have 12 players. I can't play with less.
No.
Yes, I did random a guard on a blitzer.
And are you gonna Wood Elf or? Sorry, not Wood Elf. It's late. Witch or Lineman?
I will probably go Witch, but there's also a argument for taking a runner.
Yeah.
And trying to get a leader on it.
I would probably get both in Fire Lineman when you get the goal for it.
Yeah, but it's we're getting to a stage where what I've considered actually over the season is that I have not done a good job of building my linemen, and it's the linemen are actually the big weakness. I've got some really good blitzers, but yeah.
And that's Tap's team there, and that's a really, I mean the Lizards are nice on that. The Sauruses.
But again, it's just it's the interesting thing about the teams is this one actually I can see why this one is predicted second, because you've got 12. This one's got 12, and so you've got all 6 Saurus, and you've got a spare. And then although the Saurus are not as developed, you've got quite a good skink runner.
And you've got some bang.
Yeah, you got enough sources that are stable that you can actually do stuff, and you have enough magical skinks to do the dirty work that you need to do. So this is pretty much off the races from the start, and you even got a spare player.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's one of those ones of with I think almost every coach is going to be hoping the match day 1 is not a murder fest.
No, I think that goes for all of us.
Because we go so close to the 1400. I suspect the saving of the SPP tech tier is to get under 1400. That's why I would have done.
So for those who are not aware, but just I've started to refer to it as the weigh-in. You have to go down to 1400, and to be verified to go into the new season, you get your goal cleared. That's the weigh-in point. And then as soon as the weigh-in is done, you are free to spend all your stored star player points. And that's why you see a lot of teams that are loaded beyond the 1400 that are not played any matches yet, is because they spent that star player points. Like I would imagine this one is saving up, this one is saving up, that one is probably going to random, I would imagine, not sure, and so on. Like, these are probably saving up. Yeah, that's a whole separate discussion whether that should be allowed, and I think I used to be on the side that it should not be allowed, and then I sort of ended up being on the side that it should be allowed purely because it's more or less impossible for admins to do anything about.
This is the whole point of why
yeah.
It is. I would dispute the fact that it's not well announced. Because it's all in the code of conduct, which of course Gav has read.
And you all read, and you know it by the heart, and can recite it if I wake you up in the middle of the night. Of course, everyone can do that. Especially all the rules for how to admin results. That's always
Yeah, I mean the good thing is that hopefully this is the last season we actually have to.
Yes.
We have to deal with it.
That would be really nice.
That's the thing. And it is purely down to managing it.
Yeah. I think also it'd be really interesting to see how this row will do in Prem.
Yeah.
A Strength 4, Agility 2, Blood Touch, Orc Rower.
Sorry, I'm laughing at the fact that Gav has he read the code of conduct when we were playing Blood Bowl Chaos Edition.
I think I played Chaos Edition. Is that the latest, or was there a?
No, that was the very first one.
Okay. I played...
To be fair, Gav did probably write it, so he knows most of it.
Yes.
Obviously, it's just he's assumed that it was so good we never change it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So
there we go.
Yeah. So that's Prem West. I think 6 teams in with a shout.
I
6
find
teams.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, not Angel. No, it's okay. Go on.
No, I was going to say I find it really interesting that in Prem East you're predicting all the newcomers, and in Prem West you're predicting all the old folk.
Totally contradicted myself, but I think that's probably shows up the character that I have.
I could also make a counter argument to that, and why I think I would probably go the same more or less is if you look at the numbers, right? These are the middle players of Prem East, right? The top tier went to playoffs and took a season off, and those who were lower relegated. So this is the middle of the pack. We don't have the same to the same extent in the Prem West. I think though there is a chance, if I should have made predictions, I would probably have taken Louis. What else?
Yeah, Louis. He did really well. So I adminned Waldorf West last season, and that's why I was keen to try and get one of those 4 guys in. A little bit of favoritism there, and He went unbeaten last season.
Yeah.
And Arctic as well. And Foster's has got a great team. Bearded Oath has got a nice team. There's cases to be made, but I just think in Prem West, the combination of the maturity of the teams and the level of coaching means you're picking from the guys that are already there.
Oh, bad news. Worsner already lost their first match. It's been less than half an hour, and my predictions are already a cropper. There we go.
Don't know if I can share
Maybe having fun.
that easy.
It's a Sunday night, and maybe Worsner's not got work tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a long season as well.
Well, it's easy.
Oh, you've actually pinned it. Oh, that's harsh. That's harsh, Matheus.
So, I think people generally agree on who will win Prem West.
Is it you?
Yes, by a small margin, tiny margin. But Phil,
That looks like everybody.
I think it's close to 50%. No, it's a little bit less.
Yeah.
Than 50%. But I love the fact that you are predicted by two people, as that means that you are then candidate number 2.
I mean, if I win this season, like that's it. I'm gonna retire. I'm done. I'm just going to do the commissioning stuff.
Are you gonna
couldn't achieve anymore?
You're gonna do corn.
We've heard these on-stream promises before. They tend not to pan out.
Exactly. That's how confident I am.
And for East, it is delightfully all over the place.
Yeah, and I think that's actually,
Gav voting for himself.
Yeah, I think East is you can throw a dart at the teams.
Yeah,
we'll see.
But
interesting though that the people have sort of backed you, LittleWing.
Well, fools is all I can say.
Run, fools! But it will.
Oh, I was only voted for because I was on a different poll. Oh, that's it. That's it. My dream has been crushed.
Okay, so of that list, okay, that makes sort of sense. It is sort of a shame that the polls in Discord can only take 10 and not 12. That's
It is outrageous.
Yeah. Well, it just means that next season we will only have to have 10 players in each league, right, Phil? Right, Phil? Sorry, I know.
Yes, I know. Yeah. For those who don't know, there's big debates about the numbers, and they will be staying at 12.
and guess who is on which side of that argument of me and Phil. But yeah. Anyways, do we have anything more we want to add to these predictions, or should we?
Well, those polls run for 24 hours, so we can pick them up tomorrow night, and when they've run their calls.
Should we set out like a point system? Because I wanna know how many points I get.
So, funny you should ask.
Oh, do we have points do you actually have points this season?
We have.
Cool.
So, for better and worse, I spent quite a bit of time. I used to
this is
study math
amazing.
at university. So the predictions are here. The lovely math of how it's calculated is here. And just for make it really good, they are different depending on what prediction is. And the way that it basically works is your prediction number 1 carries more weight than your prediction number 3, but it also works the other way around, so that if your prediction number 1 ends up number 12, you will get even less prediction because it is the most important prediction you made. So technically, whatever you weighed in as number 1 is going to be the most important for the amount of points you get for your predictions. And the third one is still matters, but it's not as important as the two others. And theoretically, this is the highest number you can get, 524 points. And that is if you get number 1, 2, and 3 in the right order.
Very nice.
So, the idea is, like we've done the other seasons, is where we'll have a look at how those teams are done, and I will be moving these ones up and down and so we can have a look at how they do and compare.
I'm assuming we'll like average this.
Well, we could also just see of how.
Otherwise, I've got more chance of winning.
True. But
yeah, we can average.
I did like 7 divisions.
But I think next season we should almost do, and I think Aldorf would be really optimal for that. I think we should do that. We all 3 make predictions for Aldorf, all 3 of us.
Oh,
that'd be cool. Yeah.
And then we compare the scores for Aldorf. That's just an idea for next season. Cool.
You can see we're getting the hang of this like streaming stuff.
Yeah. It's almost like we've been doing it a few times, and I spent way too much time in this Excel sheet. At least according to my girlfriend. She's Is that bubble again?
You have to fill up the time somehow.
Yes.
This brings you joy.
Oh, it does.
This is what I always say to my work colleagues. Actually, I do have. So, I did. This is completely off topic now, and we've got some time. I think we've got about 20 minutes, I would say.
Yeah.
So, and this is not a 20-minute question. So on the stream where I did it myself, I asked a very, very strange question, which was, how do you have your toad in the hole? So for Brits, so LittleWing, you're a Brit. How do you have your toad in the hole?
We are back to the toad in the hole question. Wow. Sausage with batter, some mashed potatoes, some onions in there as well, and gravy.
Okay, so that's what most people say, and I told my work that I have it with roast potatoes, baked beans, and ketchup, and they call me.
As a non-Brit, it all sounds disgusting.
Question for the chat.
Why would you eat that?
You wouldn't eat the toilet roll, would you have? No, you just have the. Do you have the toilet roll over or under?
Oh, I have a different opinion than my girlfriend, but since she works at a hospital, there is a right and a wrong way at the hospital, so she can only live with one of those 2 options. I was not aware of that, but apparently that is a healthcare thing. That apparently
the chat hate me. The chat hate me. Like, okay, folks, you need to understand this, right? You need to go away and you need to try it, and then come back here and then insult me. Then that's okay.
Some things are just so wrong, though, Phil, that you don't even need to go there.
Phil, I will make you a promise. I will try to see if I can make it to the tabletop tournament next March. And if I come over, I expect you to make me that meal.
Sold.
Deal. I might order a pizza afterwards, but we'll see.
Fine. I want to point out, Gav can't quit the UKBBL because he runs our tabletop, and I'm 35. Just put that out there. It's fine, but I genuinely want to know the answer. Answer on a postcard. Oh, Gav, no, it's not wrong. It's not wrong. It's not. You just need to try it. Just try it. Promise me you'll try it.
It's like people putting ketchup on Nutella or stuff like that. I just go like, why? Why would you do that?
It's not the no.
You're not willing to go that far.
So, wow, I never expected this to go the way it is. Roast potatoes. There's nothing wrong. Roast potatoes is essentially mash. It's just roasted. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not a weird British food. It isn't a weird British food. It's basically so. I would say right. You batter your fish and you have ketchup with batter, battered fish. It's just batter and sausage. So just have ketchup with the batter.
I just feel you're digging a hole here.
Well, I would probably say we have engaged the chat the most in the last 5 minutes than we have across the last 1 hour 40.
The last 5 minutes,
So
the chat has been more active than it has the whole show.
Next time up, cooking show, guys.
Maybe we should rename it the Toad in the Hole Show or something like that, or Weird British Foods that Phil eats.
Yes. Football and food, the new show for you.
See, this is why you need to. So I am running a tournament in Lowestoft. Maybe we can all go out for Toad in the Hole after. You just tickets are a tenner.
I think you might be on your own on that one.
I think so. You're trying to attract people to the TT, mate.
What's it called? What's it called? The ketchup cup? No, I don't have a No, I don't do ketchup cups. No, it's a dip. I need it on the plate to be able to dip. It's the worst thing about McDonald's. Well, no, it's not the worst thing about McDonald's. It's one of the things that's bad about McDonald's. They have this pot that you can't get your burger into. Hate it. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed our predictions for Blood Bowl for that segue into UK-based food. Yeah, I'm just a road in the hole. Should we talk about the FA Cup? And I can just sit quietly in a corner.
We can do so. We have the FA Cup signing up ending soon. I think we still have something like 15 tickets left of it. For those who are not aware and still new to the UKBBL, it is a chance to play against all teams theoretically. You get to play friendly matches against some random people from the divisions. So it will be maybe you running into Prem, or you might run into someone in Mood, and you get to play a match. And because it's a friendly, you don't get any casualties or star player points, but you get, however, gold, and you get a chance to win the covered title of being the Fire Albion Cup winner. And last season we actually had someone from Barron Hills claiming the title, and so it just proves that there's a good chance that anyone can actually make it. Yes, sign up will probably end Tuesday evening. I think you can get about 40k gold and some star player points if you make it all the way. So, and tomorrow, for those who just can't get enough of us, there's actually a chance that you can see us yet again and hear our lovely voices with the grand final of season 55, with the horrible Galencio Undeads and the horrible unwashed Greenskins of Unganesh facing each other off in what is guaranteed to be a very exciting final match of the last season.
That will be good, that one. That will be a good game.
It definitely.
And also, I reckon both of these teams will probably play like it's their last match. I know they've frozen their teams, but, you know, they might just go, do you know what, I can always re-roll and just go for it.
I'm inclined to think Unganesh will re-roll when he gets back, but that's a personal guess more than anything, just looking at the state of the team. I think Galencio might continue if he comes back. But it also very much depends on whether that ghoul survives or not.
Well, Stranger, where are you playing from if you're getting up at 5 a.m? You must be playing them from Australia or New Zealand.
Also, if like with a name like that, I would guess Aussie.
Yeah.
Oh, what? I think you therefore are our furthest away UKBBL.
Double respect.
Yeah, that's commitment.
That is very cool. You two have anything more to add before we'll send these lovely people off to get some rest before another horrible week starts?
Don't judge Toad in the Hole until you tried it. Just a final thought. You're all going to be thinking about it this week.
No comment. LittleWing?
Sorry, I missed the question. I was
Anything-
thinking about the
He's too
Toad.
busy thinking about Toad in the Hole.
I know, I was. And beans. It's awful. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night. I think that's going to be a really good game, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Agnash deals with that blodge defensive mummy,
Oh,
or
yeah.
a milk, as I'm referring to it, a mummy I'd like to kill.
I love that description. I actually think I might be lucky that I just randomly have that we could actually take a look at the teams for tomorrow. Yes, we can. It's almost like he had prepared something.
We've got 8 minutes, that's fine.
That is some horrible teams. Though I will say that missing super zombie there is probably not something Ganesh is unhappy about. I think though he would have loved that it was super ghoul that was missing from the match, or that mummy from hell.
To be fair though, I mean it's now cut out an extra 90k of TV, and I don't think in this matchup it's particularly useful. So
I think you're almost better off just sort of ignoring it. Like, it's 300k, right? Like, if you just feed it a few line orcs and make it distracted over some by its side, you should have a fairly huge one-up on everywhere else in the field.
It's whether you can isolate it, though. I mean, it can even get away. It's got dodge on it. It's not unreasonable that it can dodge away.
Yeah, but are you gonna dodge on a 5+ with a reroll? Like
Probably not. But if you need to.
Yeah.
good question. What inducements are we expecting?
I'm gonna seem to be very happy with.
70k.
I
Sorry.
was gonna say I'm expecting Bomber and Fnatic. I'm gonna seem to be really happy with those. And I also think they will do quite nicely for this matchup. And they're cheap.
I mean, if the bomber can get down the mummies, that's helpful.
Yeah. So
because that's the way you can isolate them.
Yeah, I don't think that's a totally invalid strategy. Just carpet bomb it and try and get it off the pitch
before it kills itself.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But also because it doesn't move that much around. Like, if you can get a few bombs on it, it will most likely stay in range, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't really think there's anything else of value that I probably want to take. There's nothing. There's no sneaky git, dirty player on Agnash's team. It's interesting actually. There isn't as much like dirty player sneaky git around as I would have thought. Perhaps it's a case of like people hate that double skill and try to avoid it at all costs. But if I was expecting to see a bribe, it'd be on Galentia rather than Agnash. I don't see the value in Agnash trying to
I think
try and foul.
No, I think if the only counter to that, and I think Mathimas is alright on that, I would maybe consider taking the Bomber and the Wizard.
Yeah.
Double breaking hole in one turn if you need to.
Then again, to be fair, I think Fungus had a pretty good go at trying to break your cage.
Oh yeah.
So,
but I think Fungus is with mummies on the field. Like, the mummies need a lot less support than Black Orcs do, right? So I think most reason why the Fungus ended up having so much time to do it is I had to sort of, or I got distracted trying to surf a player that, Of course, I bashed to the ground instead, so I got split up instead. But I think the undead would be with strength 5. You need 3 supports, and you just 2 dice it, and it's gone. It's worth it. Is there any dauntless? Yes, there's even a dauntless. It's a bit gambly, but you can do it if you feel like it.
Be a good match. It'll be very close. If it's going to go to overtime, if there was going to be a match to go to overtime, this one would be a good candidate.
I think it will come
I
down
suspect
to
the regen might be important.
Oh yeah. I think it will come down to whether the goals can be removed. Any of them.
Well, we know which one I'd like to see the back of. I mean, I haven't even played it, and I don't like it.
I've had the
pleasure.
dubious pleasure of playing it back when it only had 8 movement, and it's still annoying.
What can you do against that piece? Just what can you do? With nothing. You can't do anything against it.
Well, I actually think I could be wrong here. I think it was the piece that I spent 3 rolls surfing. In the EFA Cup.
It's hog and SPP. I mean, that's true, but you don't, at this point, where the caps are, you don't want SPP on anything else. You just want to keep that player alive. That's the player that's going to win you the game.
But I also think like having to cut 300k from this team value is going to be, especially with 9k being missing, right? Like there's almost 400k you need to cut to get down.
Yeah, well, you can cut 2 players basically for free, and it depends how brutal Galantia wants to be.
Oh yeah.
So you could get rid of the zombie lineman, the one that's got all the random stuff, and I suspect what you could do is you could just cut both the whites and try and live off your zombie lineman, and almost try and rebuild that way.
I would cut
it's not ideal.
Mummy. I would cut the expensive mummy. It is just too expensive.
It is at the moment.
I could be wrong, but my guess is that Galantia knew when he picked defensive that it was going to be cut, that it was going to be expensive, but he could use it for the season and then basically replace it out.
Yeah, possibly. But I'd be very surprised if that zombie makes the cut.
90k, I would definitely keep that one.
Still a zombie though, and it's stopping you having skills on something else.
Yeah.
It is a more expensive mummy. I mean, what is that? That's the same as a white blitzer, a baby one.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's got block and tackle and a lot of nice stuff, but it's still a zombie. There we go. We'll see. We'll see what happens to all of them. As we found out, caps might be easier to come by when you've played a game.
Yes, especially when you have dead players. It sort of cures some of your headaches.
Oh, you take that up, did you?
Really? Yes, just ever so slightly. Cool.
Right. We've got 30 seconds.
Yes. I will say thank you to everyone for chipping in and sticking around, at least until now, and hopefully see you all tomorrow. And that's bye for me at least.
Yeah. Good night. Good night, guys. Good night, chat.